Stop comparing yourselves to others. Your path is sacred. Your path is completely unique. It cannot be replicated. Your perspective, your timeline, it has nothing to do with anyone else but you. Your perspective is so deeply meaningful. Your personal experience is so profound and has so much purpose in the collective understanding and greater consciousness. I cannot tell you how important it is, because all of us are divine reflections of Source experiencing itself. Welcome to the Sound Body Initiative, a place for those who sense there's something deeper happening beneath the surface, and where lived experience meets between sound, body, and soul. Here we're talking creativity, consciousness, and real life inquiry, exploring what it actually means to be human right now. So slow down, tune in, and remember how connected we really are. And we're back. Episode 4 of the Sound Body Initiative, and this time we are reclaiming our mojo. If you're here with us, you are most likely a high vibe individual with something magical to offer this world. You have a light burning inside of you, and no matter how many times the harsh society that we live in tries to snuff you out, you continue to show that spark, and you continue to nurture that spark inside of you. And I know that if you've been listening, things have we go pretty deep here. I'm not gonna lie. We can be pretty serious around here, because honestly, this show is a space for us to really unpack deep conversations and give space to these very deep topics that are often on so many people's minds and hearts, but we don't really have the space to say it. But in actuality, having fun and playing is a huge part in the work that I do. So it's paramount that through the toughness of the world, we continue to hold on to our mojo. We retain our mojo. It's so important. And as a lifelong singer and musician, play and creativity has been so integral to the healing process. And when we play, we increase our neuroplasticity, which is our ability to create new brain cells and rewire our brain. So if you're seeing this, if you're hearing this, it's because you are a gorgeous, luxurious phoenix that is rising from the ashes, not settling for anything less than the highest version of yourself. So this episode, we are talking everything from self-sabotage, life lessons, personal growth, self-empowerment, high value, and how to get your mojo back, or how to enhance the mojo that you already got. And in this episode, we are really taking the responsibility of what it means to reclaim and embody the highest version of yourself, no matter what life throws at you. Because we're not here to point fingers. We're not here to take the easy way out through self-sabotage, even though there are a lot of fucked up people out there who are just waiting for us to fall. And I know who you are, so don't think I don't see you. Okay. Full disclaimer, I am probably going to drop some cuss words during this episode because it kind of has me fired up. And if you're not willing to get a little uncomfortable and look at yourself honestly and maybe tolerate a poignantly placed cuss word or two, then maybe this episode's not for you. But if you like honesty, if you like raw truth, reality, then we're going to be good friends. So today we are bringing the drama in a good way. We are laughing, dancing, playing our way towards love, light, and our highest vibration. So what is mojo. I was actually even surprised to find this out when I looked up the definition, because I always thought it's like this pop culture term. It's just like your jive, your flow, like your groove, which it totally is. But mojo is actually a noun and it refers to a superpower. So we're talking about embodying our superpowers here. I just love that so much. It makes it so much more magical to me. And what really prompted this topic was the fact that this is something that has been coming up in the collective lately and for a little while now. And lo and behold, as within, so without, I too had lost my mojo. I lost my mojo. I'm so embarrassed to say that actually, because, literally, I have always considered myself a free spirit and, I'm opinionated and I stand in my power. But to be honest, I'm a fucking human being too. And I have been belittled and devalued and silenced to the point where it just honestly became easier for me just to shut the fuck up. And, if you know me, you know that I'm a lifelong singer. I teach vocal toning with groups. I help others feel empowered in their voice. And yet this society and the people who I allowed myself to be surrounded with actually just challenged me to a degree which I could no longer find the words or the will to actually be heard. And I'll just be real, the last several years have been hard. I think they've been hard on everybody, not just socially, but economically and physically and mentally and spiritually, and we've all been through a lot that has sown seeds of doubt inside of our minds. And speaking from personal experience, they say you reap what you sow. And I had reaped and reaped and reaped because these little seeds of doubt that, were just clustering in my mind. I mean, I literally got to a place where I just didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to speak. I actually couldn't sing. I've been singing since birth, literally, since I could make sounds. I have been singing and I lost my voice. It's crazy. It's really just, and it's really a reflection of compounding stress on my nervous system. And if you understand the way that microtensions and everything works inside of your body, it makes perfect sense how we can feel choked up when we are feeling repressed and like we're feeling constricted. So this period that I was devoid of mojo was actually a blessing in disguise, because it gave me the opportunity to create space and retreat into my little cocoon. But, this is me coming out of my cocoon. It's like, I wouldn't have retracted and I wouldn't have gone into this space of silence and this space that was just devoid of all external stimuli had it not been for the shitty situations that I was surrounding myself with and creating in my own life. So, needless to say, when you break the mold or do something different than everyone else around you has something to say about it, and you're met with a lot of resistance, and that's kind of just the way it is. And sometimes you have to take that resistance from life, and instead of trying to cope it or fix it or adapt to it, you just have to fucking turn the other way, And so that really took me deep into my journey of discovering, or rather rekindling my passion, my drive for what it is that I do, and really starting to look at the place that I held and the importance of things that I held in my life, and really start to analyze how important are those things how important is it for me to carry those things forward in the rest of my life. So I'll say that if you want to go on a deeply spiritual and psychedelic journey of death and rebirth, highly recommend becoming an entrepreneur or a creative, because shit will start showing up that you thought you had dealt with years and years ago. When you suddenly take out all of the distractions and you're left with nothing but yourself and your own shadows, and it's actually a beautiful thing, because it gives us the opportunity to change and to grow. But I never would have retreated if it wasn't for the friction that was coming up in my life. Like I said, sometimes we think that something bad is happening to us and somebody's like betraying us, but I thought of it earlier today. It's like, that person wasn't really just an evil person, or they weren't a bad person or doing something against me. Really, they were just a messenger from God asking me to move in another direction, and you could probably relate that all of the friction and, the resistance, it honestly becomes just easier to not have to explain yourself to people that just don't understand you. And, I think the part that hurts is like, the people who are supposed to support you and love you, they tell you that what you're doing is wrong, or that, you living in your authentic truth is actually hurting them in some way. But when you live passionately and in your truth and unapologetically in your purpose, it fucks with other people's perceptions of themselves, so hard that they have to project their fears onto you. And like mirrors, because we all are, we riff off of one another and we start to riff of our own psyche, especially if you grew up devalued and silenced as a child, there is most likely a very subconscious wound inside of you where anytime there's any type of friction with, some other relationship in your life, you have like a visceral reaction to it. For me, it was just to be quiet and become small. And there's even this old school saying that children are meant to be seen and not heard, which is fucked, because like, a lot of our parents grew up with that notion and they passed that shit down to us. And, it makes total sense that so many of us are struggling with self-worth, with being seen, so if you have ever felt that way, it's not normal. That's not a normal way to raise children. It's not a normal thing to pass down to your kids. And it has just been one of those fucked up gifts of generational trauma that we're all dealing with. Welcome aboard. I hear this come up, and one of my colleagues said it again recently. She brought up the witch's wound, which is this generational trauma that our cells carry on a vibrational level, which, remember what it's like to be hunted down simply for being the divine reflection of God. Talk about trauma wounds, right? It makes sense why all of these, repressed feelings are not just experienced in ourselves, but like I said, everything's a mirror. So if somebody's reflecting back a certain form of dissatisfaction in us, there has to be some form of doubt within us. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that we are responsible for everybody else's reactions. However, I do think that on a vibrational level and on an egoic level, we, to a very large degree, are responsible for our own suffering, especially as adults. And it's up to us to decide how are we going to turn that suffering and transmute it and actually transcend into a more aware and more enlightened form of consciousness. So I had this fuck you moment, okay? And it's kind of like the aha epiphany of like a great idea, except it's a fuck you of get over yourself. You are holding yourself back, and stop giving a shit what everyone else thinks of you. Stop giving a shit what other people are coming up against you with friction. It's, If I'm taking it personally, that means that on some level, I have to believe it's true, right? Like just when I was a kid, I thought that in order for my environment to stay safe, I needed to be small. So if somebody feels threatening to me, I'm going to subconsciously, I'm going to shrink down in size because I'm believing what they say to be true. And if their state is true, then I need to do something to cope with it. So anyway, long story short, fuck you moment. Fuck you, Jessica. Like, get over yourself. You need to be strong in who you are and your connection with source, because ultimately that is your mission in life. You know, nobody else can tell us where we want to go and the things that make us fulfilled and ultimately happy. So thankfully, we're not being hunted down and burnt at the stakes in our country, you know, for having these superpowers, having our mojo. And, you know, whenever we are hiding and feeling shame or starting to repress our true selves, then, you know, these are the responses of our own ego. It's not really about getting over what others have done to you so much as it is about getting over yourself enough to stop making excuses, to play small, to play safe, and to not let what others have done affect your life anymore. The fuck you moment, right? So, you know, because ultimately we have our own free will. We are conscious creators in this reality. This is our story. We are the writers, okay? Perhaps, you know, perhaps this is just one of the blessings that is coming with growing older, that I just don't fucking care what people are thinking anymore. But as an elder now in society, I want to pass on this wisdom to you. And maybe even a little tough love. The same tough love that I speak to everyone I care dearly about, especially myself, to start showing up for yourself and finally get your mojo back. Okay, get your magic back. Don't let them take it from you. Reclaim your magic. So, you know, to get my mojo back, I had to crawl out of my shame hole, which my friend Alyssa so lovingly refers to, this dark, quiet place of shameful hiding. But I had to pull myself so far away that all I could do was look inward at myself, learn these lessons that kept showing up in my life, because this whole repeating pattern of shame and becoming small and dimming my light, these are things, like I said, that have been going on since childhood. So until I was able to take accountability and face my shadows, these things were going to keep showing up. So finally, I had enough. You know, enter the cocoon. And, you know, I'm really grateful for it, because it's taught me and it showed me how my own subconscious beliefs were self-sabotage me and making me weak. Because everything we acknowledge in some form is a self-validating belief, whether it's something positive, like money always comes to me and I have everything that I need, or it's something negative, like, you know, I'm unlovable. No one will ever love me because of X, Y, and Z. So, you know, whether it's actually true or not, our subconscious, as pattern recognition systems, we will seek out and validate these beliefs and take them to be true as fact. So speaking of subconscious behavior, here's a little funny thing I found. So I stumbled across writing, because if you're a creative, or if you're somebody who's, you know, always got a lot of thoughts in their head and feelings on their heart, you probably do the same thing. But I write things down, and I have notebooks and documents, and I'll write them down, and then they'll get lost in the abyss of crazy ideas and sketches and all that good stuff. But here's a thing that I found, and this isn't the first time that my past self has written to my future self. It's really quite beautiful. But what I found in my writing was, Quote, when it comes to getting over your anxiety, fear, depression, whatever, the bottom line is that you have to find something that you give more of a shit about than crawling back into your scared little hole. Dude, like my past self just called out my future self, like point fucking blank. Like, so yeah, we can't keep hiding ourselves. I care about doing what I came here to do. You know, for me, what is it that I care more about myself than my fear, anxiety, or shame? It is that I'm here to live for a purpose. I'm here to embody my highest expression, to help others heal, to help others grow, to help others embody their highest expression and usher in a new generation of love and light for our children. So fuck you. Get over yourself. It's that important. I'm getting worked up. Okay. But everyone says, oh, I want to heal. I want to work on this. I want to accomplish that. But when the opportunity presents itself for you to go and do the work, the real work, the shifting of your mindset, the changing your habits, asking the tough questions and holding yourself to a higher standard, you bail. You flake. Something comes up. You go wasted the night before. Suddenly you have a head cold, a migraine, whatever. Then what? The next day, you're back to wondering why your life won't change. And if you'd only taken the time to sit and do the work, then maybe you'd find the answers. Because here's the thing with self-sabotage. You will always find a way to hold yourself back if you allow it. Until you get uncomfortable doing the things that are uncomfortable, you can guarantee that when things get uncomfortable for you, your subconscious is going to create a scenario in which you can avoid that. But when you become so comfortable with being uncomfortable, then you become unstoppable. So, ... Stop making excuses, roll up your sleeves, get uncomfortable, because no one is going to do the work for you, and you'll be glad that you did. So, if you needed to hear that right now, please understand. I feel you. I feel you right now. The subconscious is such a tricky bitch. So it's a hard fucking truth, and that's just what we need to hear sometimes to level up our game, okay? And I'm here to be real with you. I'm here to be real with myself. I'm not here to sugarcoat shit because, quite frankly, you know, that's what's gotten us here in the first place, okay? So we don't want to do this anymore. How do we recover? How do we stop using the protector parts inside of us to unknowingly sabotage us? And how do we recognize our patterns and integrate it into our higher understanding so that we can reclaim our mojo? Okay, so what can we do to get our mojo back? Don't worry. I'm not gonna leave you hanging with all this heavy shit. We are getting our groove back together. So I have 10 steps for you to build unshakable confidence and step into your freedom. Okay. 1, reconnect with your body. And this week's music medicine mix, I'm not gonna lie, is so good. Confidence starts in the body. You need to move, you need to dance, breathe, you need to flex and groove and let your nervous system release old tension so that that energy can move again. I cannot tell you how important it is to just move your body in ways that it doesn't normally move, because that energy will start to flow through you and then cometh out of you through beautiful creation and beautiful mojo. So go listen to this week's mix when you're done listening to this podcast. It is so much fun to dance to and listen. Number 2, you need to rewrite your inner dialogue, okay? You need to catch all of the bullshit that runs through your mind and replace the I can'ts with I'm learning. You need to replace the I'm hurting with I'm healing, because it makes a big difference. 3, speak your truth out loud. Look at me. This is what I'm doing here. I'm literally spewing my truth all over the place. I don't care who's listening. And There is so much to say in the profound power that the human voice has. Your voice is a portal between your inner and external realities. You are vibration. So to sing, to speak affirmations, to talk to yourself, to start a fucking podcast, anything that you need, because sound vibration literally rewires your confidence, rewires your frequencies, and speaking your beliefs into existence is manifesting them into the physical reality, and it's carrying those vibrations off into the ether. It's amazing. So I am confident. I am valued. I am safe. I am free. I am unstoppable. 4, done is better than perfect. Okay? There's this thing in the studio world. It's a saying. It's a rule. It's the 80% rule. Okay? 80% good enough, because nothing will ever be complete. We live in a reality and in a form where we're constantly changing. Even when we think that we have it all figured out, something's changing. Our cells are dying and replenishing and multiplying. And when we inhale, the next moment it's out, that breath is gone. So done is better than perfect. Nothing is ever going to be to your completion. You need to stop waiting to feel ready, because your confidence is going to be built through momentum, not perfection. Every small, tiny little action that you take, it reprograms your subconscious. And the antidote to stagnation is momentum. So number 5. Number 5 is create evidence of your power. Document it. Write it down. Act like a fucking attorney collecting evidence for yourself, for your higher self. Write down every little tiny win that you accomplished, every big win that you accomplished, and start to actually see and collect the data of what and who you are becoming. Because when we see the evidence that's shown to us, all of a sudden, we can't keep making the excuses anymore. These things can be small. For me right now, the fact that I'm even doing this, that it seems so small and so silly. Anybody can sit here and just gibber on, but for me, this was really hard. And, it might seem small and insignificant to others, but if it's meaningful to you, then it's worth writing down and it's worth collecting the data on. So number 6 is to surround yourself with expansive people. This is so important. Who you spend your time with significantly impacts the quality of your life. It impacts your finances. It impacts what you think about yourself and what you think of the world around you. So if you don't have positive, inspiring, expansive people in your life, then you need to be that person. If you need to be the only person in your life who is encouraging you to grow and to expand, then that's the way it has to be. And they say the path to enlightenment is a lonely one. And the path to being a creative and an artist and an entrepreneur, it's a lonely one, because I don't want to say it's hard, but you are very unique. The way that you see the world is extremely unique. And you can't expect to have hundreds of people that are in your vicinity who are actually going to see your vision the way that you see your future vision. Unless you have people in your life who are validating your vision and supporting you and actually pushing you to grow because they themselves are growing, then they're not fucking worth keeping around. So be around people who stretch you, inspire you, and remind you of your power. And most importantly, brush off the haters, okay? Okay. Even if it's family, it's not worth it. It's not worth appeasing anybody who's not even going to be happy regardless of your actions. So number 7, let go of the comparison. Stop comparing yourselves to others. Stop comparing yourself to others, Jessica. So your path is sacred. Your path is completely unique. It cannot be replicated. Your perspective, your timeline, it has nothing to do with anyone else but you. Your perspective is so deeply meaningful. Your personal experience is so profound and has so much purpose in the collective understanding and greater consciousness. I cannot tell you how important it is, because all of us are divine reflections of Source experiencing itself. So for someone to think that one is less important than the other is blasphemous. 8, align your actions with your values. Okay, just like we need to align our community with our values, we need to especially align our actions with our values, because confidence comes when what you do matches what you say and it matches who you are. Inner alignment, it creates integrity, it creates inner peace, and that peace and that alignment, it attracts abundance, it attracts expansion, it attracts deeper understanding. And the people who are meant to share your vision will start to gravitate in your vicinity and you in theirs, floating constellations here to support one another. Number 9, this is a big one. This is a big one for me. I think it's a lot of people struggle with this, especially women. But number 9 is to practice receiving. Stop blocking your blessings. You have to allow the compliments to land. Say thank you. Instead of deflecting a compliment back to another person. Or when somebody tells you thank you, say you're welcome. Rather than, again, just deflecting and bouncing that off of you. It's such a shame, because we live in a universe of ebb and flow, of giving and receiving, of positive and negative polarity. So if we are constantly in the push, give, we are never receiving, and we are never going to be fully in balance. So this is something that I really had to work hard on, and I'm still finding safety around that in my nervous system. I've gotten a lot better. So when somebody says, I like your hair, I say thanks. And then I offer a compliment in response. This whole ability to receive openly actually keeps your abundance channel open and flowing. And that's what we want. We want open, flowing, magic mojo here, okay? Now, finally, number 10, I love this one. This is embody gratitude and vision. This pulls it all together, because gratitude grounds you in the here and now. When we feel gratitude, it is scientifically proven that it displaces all negative emotions in our hearts and our minds, and it puts our brains and our hearts into a state of coherence, into a state of vibrational alignment, amplifying your vision and pulling you into expansion. Because what is coherence? Coherence is two waveforms that are in harmony, that come into contact and expand and go wider and further and further. So if we ourselves can come into a state of coherence, gratitude, and alignment, we are amplifying our vision into our future existence. It's a beautiful thing. So you are not above the laws of nature. So be grateful for that. You are also the most highly intelligent piece of technology on the planet, for which contains these laws of nature. So be grateful for that. And in these final states of gratitude and joy, remembering, I will leave you with vibrations on the Most High. I hope you feel like that really got your mojo, your superpowers rising, and it got you into your groove. I hope you feel more confident so that you can soar like the mythical phoenix that you really are. because when we rise together, we thrive together. And if you're looking for more ways to keep your mojo flowing and step into your highest purpose, please go listen to this week's music mix on Soundbody Radio. I actually recorded it before this session, which I don't always do, which I think I might do from now on, because it got my mojo flowing. It is a sweet and sassy mix of tribal tech and Afro house. So if you love like sultry rhythms and horns, and I just know that this is going to make you move. And if you've never heard that kind of music, or you think that you don't like that kind of music, I encourage you to go listen to it anyway, because more than likely these are songs you've never heard before, and they're going to shift your perspective. So we are rising together. We are living healthy, abundant, and free, because the more good people become successful together, the world becomes a better place. So thanks for rising with me. Thanks for helping me get my mojo back. And I hope this episode has left you feeling inspired, connected, and alive. Until next time, my friend. Keep up the light. What's up, conscious creator? If you're ready to give back to your body in the same way that it gives back to you, I highly recommend checking out my website at sound-body.org, where you can find more music resources and integrative products that increase your capacity for living well. And if you love to dance and you're ready to receive these transmissions through your own sound body, don't forget to listen to this week's mix at Soundbody Radio. You can find me on YouTube at JRio Music, or SoundCloud at Jessica Rio Music, or simply by searching Soundbody Radio. As always, your support doesn't just feed me as an independent creator, but it helps those around you find their path back to their higher calling. So, thanks for listening, and remember, keep up the light.